Good morning, everyone. It's great to be back working on ARISS again, and I'm looking forward to giving you a little briefing on what's going on in ARISS. Let me make a comment here. This year is a special one. This is the 30th anniversary of the beginning of using human spaceflight vehicles to actually do amateur radio operations. And first off, that happens in November. I wanted to see if anyone that has been involved in either SAREX or ARISS to please stand up. You know, whether you're any kind of support, volunteer, anything. I want to thank you all for your tremendous support over the years, and also I want to recognize Bill Tynan and Lou McFadden for their pioneering work in actually starting this whole program on SAREX. Thank you. So today I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly relative to ARISS, and I'm going to get through the bad and the ugly first and get into the good, because there's so much good that's happening in ARISS, but I do think I need to share with you all some of the things, some of the challenges we've had. Barry touched on it a little bit, but I came back on board after my cooling off period from NASA in September, and I inherited some significant challenges. The ARISS program was in an unsustainable position because of some changes that happened within NASA and moving ARISS around, and without some significant redirects, the program actually was in serious threats of cancellation. So basically what I needed to do, and what our team is doing from a leadership perspective, is to understand our customers' needs and wants, understanding our environment, and make course corrections, and meeting our commitments. And that's what we're trying to do as a team within ARISS, and it's been, like I said, a huge challenge. Many of you aren't seeing it because it's behind the scenes, but some of it has kind of spilled out a little bit, and you've probably seen a couple school contacts that were challenging or failed, and some of that was associated with some of these challenges. So what happened? Back in June 2010, ARISS was moved from flight crew equipment, which is where it was from 1996 when we first started it, into the ISS National Lab Education Program. And the problem with that is ISS National Lab was set up by Congress as a utilization funding source. In other words, pharmaceuticals and Department of Agriculture, Legos, they all had funding to bring in to actually do things on space station. ARISS and AMSAT and ARL are not a funding source to make that happen. We're all nonprofits. We don't have money like Legos does, if you will. That coupled with the fact that our hardware safety support was dropped because of financial concerns within education, and basically what happened was that in 2012, all of the support, the NASA support for ARISS, moved from a combined Space Station Program Office and education activity to exclusively education. Now, if you understand the budget, and I've got it in here, the Space Station Program Office budget is $3.5 billion a year. Education is about $125 million a year. So, you know, and most of the money in education is earmarked for specific educational projects and are untouchable. So when education gets a funding cut, it becomes a much bigger issue. And so basically what's ended up happening is education had a funding cut this year. We were kind of in this pickle, and the budget reductions have actually significantly hurt a lot of education programs, and particularly our ARISS. But I want to make it clear, while that is the ugly part, NASA is very much interested and excited about ARISS. They've actually kept ARISS alive while a lot of the education programs within NASA and in other parts of the federal government have been canceled. The thing down the bottom is actually a snippet of a memo that came out which by the head of education in NASA, which basically says that they're exempting ARISS from immediate suspension, like hundreds of other educational projects. So from a perspective of that, that's good in that NASA really feels that what we're doing is phenomenal, and I thank everyone that's been involved in ARISS for their tremendous support and things. The other thing that happened is that education's going through a reorganization, and actually ARISS now has moved from a K through 12 activity to a K through 16 activity, which provides us some interesting opportunities in that college-age students now can be involved in, and we get credit for that, if you will. So I know Mark Hammond, who's been working a lot of the education activities, sees that as an opportunity, and we're going to be exploiting that, if you will, in the future. Okay. The other part is that everything's going to be competitive from now on. So we got to be careful, and we got to get the right metrics and make sure that everyone feels that we're doing a great job. So I don't have any problem with that right now, but we need to keep the ball running and actually continue to improve our educational outcomes associated with ARISS. Now, the budget thing did cause some significant hits in our internal team. We had a number of support things that NASA was doing. Those that know Carol Jackson, she was our prime administrative support, and we lost her as part of this, and we've had to move people around from a roles and responsibilities perspective. We had some problems with the contract that Kenneth Ransom is on. He's our NASA operations interface. We lost him for almost a month, and we actually lost his backup permanently at this point, Steve Ponder. And at the same time, we had some issues with we have issues with the D700 radio, the Kenwood radio in the service module, and all of that caused some it actually spilled out to the schools. We had some failed and marginal school contacts, and we've been working with NASA. We got Kenneth Ransom support in place now and solidified. We're working with we worked with the astronauts as well as NASA on expediting getting the Ericsson radio in the Columbus module checked out and installed and checked out, and then we put some operations procedures in place to minimize the risk associated with the school contacts. And, as part of this, when I came back on board, I saw, we've got an infrastructure that's been going on, since '96, but actually with school contacts since 2000, and our infrastructure is getting a little outdated. Our comm and information infrastructure needs some modifications. We've got some reliance on individuals like Charlie Safana, that's a single point that is a concern to me and others. That Charlie's doing a fantastic job, but none of us should be a single point failure, if you will. And frankly, we've got mentors that are doing a lot. From the time I left 3 years before to now, we've been up to almost 130 schools a year. One of the things we've done is we've cut that back to 100 now, and we're looking for more mentors. So that's my first call in this presentation, is that anybody that's interested in helping, we'd really appreciate your help. But basically, the bottom line is we're aggressively addressing a number of the concerns and working them. So that's pretty much the bad and the ugly, if you will. But I wanted to make sure everybody knew the extent of it, because a lot is happening behind the scenes and we're working it. And I think a number of you know that relative to, you've seen the government sequestration and budget cuts and things like that, so we're trying to work around those. So let's get into some of the good stuff. Since this program started, we've had 802 school contacts and 36 this calendar year, and 95 since Dayton last year. So 95 with 18 countries in the past 12 months. The picture on the right is Kevin Ford, and this is our new station in the Columbus module. We have 3 places. We have stations now. We have the service module, in the Russian service module, the Zarya, where we've had the Ericsson before, and now in Columbus module. And you can actually see the radio, the Ericsson radio, sitting in the center top of the screen there. Wanted to talk about, there's a couple schools I wanted to highlight. One in the United States, this is Gary, Indiana. the Gary Literacy Coalition. And the view you're seeing here is right around where Gary Literacy is the school that they're using to do this activity. The thing about what is happening in ARISS is because of our new proposal process, we're getting a substantially more comprehensive educational activities per school now than I would say we did even 5 or even 4 years ago. This is the surrounding area. You know, it's all projects right in Gary, Indiana, right around where this Gary Literacy Coalition activity is. And the whole idea of Gary Literacy Coalition is to reach into the projects, bring the students in, get them excited about things like science and technology, not just by inspiring them, but actually getting them involved. And the vision is that they'll then get into careers like that and pull themselves out with the help of Gary Literacy out of the projects and into substantial productive work. And so this is the power of ARISS education. I mean, basically the students are learning about circuits, they're helping build the antennas, and doing the school contacts and things like that. They were really, really engaged. This contact happened a couple weeks ago, and just, you know, I physically wasn't there. John, AG9D was there, and as well as his team, and the write-ups that came back were basically amazing, totally amazing to hear what ARISS has done as part of this activity. And this is just a sampling of what has been happening this year. Another thing, you know, Chris Hadfield's been a sensation. Those of you that were at the banquet last night heard a little bit of that during the speaker talk. He was really using ARISS, and he's the first Canadian to be commander of ISS, social media and music phenomenon, and he did 23 school contacts in just a few months. This poster that is shown here with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, this was the last contact of Chris Hadfield's flight, one day before he came back home. And that poster basically did a whirlwind Canadian tour at every school, and the school students signed the poster, and you can see all the little signatures all over this thing. And the way our Canadian volunteers do things is they go from school to school. We've got Steve McFarland and Lori, his wife Lori, going to each school, and they went on really a whirlwind tour. They started in Nova Scotia, went all the way across Canada, up and down Canada into the highest latitudes of the Eskimo territories and Yukon, and back again, and kind of see all of the different things they did. You know, in the center there is the Sick Kids Hospital, which was another tremendously positive activity that we did with ARISS. And another interesting thing was that just about a month ago, we had a school contact at Hay River. And those of you that are familiar with the Ice Pilots show, Hay River is the home of Buffalo Airlines, and we had a Hay River school contact, and there were about 300 students and families attending that. As I mentioned, Lori and Steve and a number of other team members are jumping from place to place. Buffalo Airlines flew them into Hay River for that. They actually had the Ice Pilot people, the television series team on location, and they actually filmed the contact. So and they sponsored the whole activity. And so if you're a fan of this show, watch especially the first episode. Don't be surprised if you see ARISS on it. Just a couple sentences on the radio station I mentioned. We are now operational in the Columbus module. You can see on the left astronaut Randy Bresnik installing the VHF-UHF antenna. Appreciate Lou's efforts in making that happen. And then Tom Marshburn did a lot of good work in checking out the radio. We had some issues with the headset. We got that worked out before we got that fixed. We were using the radio without the headset. And we've had some challenges with this radio system. We've gotten used to the very high power Kenwood radio system in the service module. That system has antennas on the very edge of the service module, and the only thing that you can see if you're standing out there is the Earth and space. There's no obstructions, and so there's armchair quality horizon-to-horizon performance is what we've experienced since we start using that radio system. The Ericsson in Columbus, we're using much less power, and so individuals have to exercise more vigilance in receiving the signals, and specifically around AOS and LOS, where you've got the highest path loss, as well as there's been some mysterious mid-contact dropouts. And I'm going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you something in a second which shows where we've been working with NASA to try to understand what the heck's going on there, and I think we've got the solution. So what I want to remind everybody is that, the stations that are using that needs to have all of these capabilities as much as you can to maximize the signal strength. And I'm going to go to, hopefully it's right here. There it is. I got it. If you watch this video is a perspective where the X in the center is where the ground station is, and watch what pops up. Okay? We're finding out, when we're on the service module, we got a clear view. Well, depending on the time of day and things, you see the solar array, and all of a sudden you got these dropouts. So we're hoping we're going to be able to work with NASA on predicting that before the contact. Not sure that that'll happen, but it's it's taken us a while to understand this, and it's been good for us to resolve that big issue. Back to the presentation here. Okay, I want to talk a couple minutes about future capabilities. I know there's been a few things on BB about the ham TV. We're working with our European partners on this. We had worked with them to get antennas on Columbus module, not only the VHF-UHF you just saw, but also some S-band, L-band antennas, which actually got installed in the 2007 time frame. And then ESA's been working with, ESA and our ARISS Europe team have been working with Kaiser Italia to develop a ham video S-band digital ATV transmitter. That's planned for launch on the HTV vehicle in August of this year, and we're hoping in early 2014 we'll do the first ARISS ham contact with schools. And so here's a picture of those of you who haven't seen it. The two antennas there on they're patch antennas on the side of Columbus module, and basically the onboard DATV transmitter is called Ham Video. The whole system, Ham TV, includes the video capability as well as the VHF voice link with the Ericsson. And you can kind of see some of the hardware specifics that goes along with this. The European folks, our ARISS Europe team, are developing and deploying a set of ground stations using a 1.2 meter dish, and they're expecting about 1 to 2 minutes of TV signal, and they're going to link several ground stations together to try to get a 15-minute comprehensive set of constant video for a school contact. And then we've got a software system interface into the the hardware board that's embedded in the into your computer to actually run and receive the TV signals. So in summary, we've been going through a very dynamic and changing environment on ARISS this past year. Within NASA, we've moved exclusively into the education budget, and the education budget's had a significant reduction, and to survive, we've been making some austere changes which have been very painful. The loss of Carol Jackson, our safety certification person Claire Fredlin, and our ops backup Steve Ponder, and basically redirecting those roles amongst the team within NASA as well as within the ARISS volunteers. And if we want to fly new hardware, I'm going to say this, we or our international counterparts, our ARISS international counterparts, are going to have to bring the funding in to make that happen. NASA isn't going to be doing that in the future unless we win a proposal similar to what we've done with Alana on Fox. Okay? And bottom line is we do need to augment our team, so please become a ARISS volunteer. We've got school group mentors we need press and media liaisons to work with the ANS folks, as well as all the other press that are out there. We have administrative support, hardware, social media, and educational outreach activities. So if you're interested in ARISS and you want to be a part of the team, there's lots of opportunities. So with that, I don't know if I have 2 minutes, okay? So any questions? Yes? So the question has to do with does ARISS have a role in emergency communications and the use of our equipment for emergency communications on space station? The answer is that yes, we are like the third tier. There's two different capabilities, comm capabilities, and we would be the third. We didn't get called up on this last comm issue, but we have gotten called up before to be prepared. So, and I will say, we are getting, while what I've said today doesn't sound good relative to we've lost a lot of support, we are still getting a lot of really good support from NASA, including the time for the astronauts, which is extremely valuable on space station. Other questions? No, there is no D-Star equipment on ARISS at this point. Yes. Yes. Yes, the question was whether we still do direct contacts. We do. It's all a function of the crew member. Doug Wheelock, as a number of you know, was very active. Bill MacArthur was very active. Mike Fink was very active. It depends on the person. No, those guys are long back home. So, it's on the order of a 6-month stint so that they're up there. So depending on who it is, we get a lot of participation, and depending on who it is, we get no participation on that. Other questions? That's it? Okay. Back over to you. Thank you all.